Thank you very much, guys. Great to be with you and spend some time and talk to you about publications and how we can help you develop your research and get it to publish in the best journals. I'm very happy to see very young people here and to engage with you because it's really our responsibility to make sure that you understand what you need to do in order to be successful and to take things forward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through quite a lot of slides as soon as I can to give you some ideas of what's happening. And what I would like you, if you've got any questions, please ask anytime, put it on chat, and I'll come back to you. And at the end, I'll spend some time answering any questions that you may have. I'm going to give you the inside story, the story that we don't necessarily, the story that you don't normally see, because this is the latest kind of information, and I'm going to give you the information from. I'll show you some print screens from the system. I have to admit I hadn't done it for a while, so I spent quite a lot of time today doing it. So it's all very fresh information. So. Welcome to this presentation. It's really a pleasure to introduce to you Tourism Review. Tourism Review is the oldest journal in tourism. It has got 76 years of publications. Publication started in 1946. I didn't start it. I'm not 76 years old, but some great guys just after the Second World War in Switzerland thought that tourism will be a major force to rebuild economies and societies, exactly like now. And they started the journal to bring all the knowledge together. So the Tourism Review is 76 years old, and I became editor about 3.5 years ago. And we progressed the journal dramatically. And you can see some of the statistics that are happening. So the journal got into SSCI 2 years ago and got the second impact factor, which was 2.9 last year. And you can see what's happening here. We had the site score in 2019, 2.1. The latest site score tracker we've got is 4.5, and that was in April. And you'll see the growth in a minute because I'm going to show you some of the numbers. So you can see here a number of topics that we're doing. We're a generic journal, so we can actually deal with anything to do with tourism. Now, increasingly, we do less hospitality publications. We leave the hospitality publications to the hospitality journals. And increasingly, we are very picky on what we publish. And you'll see that why we're very picky. But as you can see from those topics, we can deal with a whole range of tourism-related issues from management, marketing, demand, supply, policy, governance, planning, sustainability, networks, the whole lot. And that gives us a great opportunity to actually attract fantastic papers. You can see what's happening in the last few years. So I took the journal at the end of 2016. The journal was publishing 4 issues and 21 articles per year. On 2017, we published 29 articles. On 2018, 36. And then 2019, we got to 74 articles, and 2020, we had the 75 years of the journal. So we did a special issue, and we brought 75, because it was 75, volume 75, we got 75 fantastic papers from well-known authorities to actually celebrate the 75 years of the publication of the journal. And this year we're still negotiating, but I think in 2021 we'll publish 80 papers. Average turnaround time is 32 days, and acceptance rate is about 12%. And you can see how the site score grew in the last 3 years, and you can see how the impact factor grew in the last few years. So this is I just received this yesterday, so I didn't have the time to put it properly on the presentation, but I think that it will be good for you to see the growth of the journal. You can see how many people are downloading per month. This is the reports I'm getting. So I'm going to give you the inside information from what I get from the publishers. So this is how many people download papers and how many people are using the journal. And you can see the growth that we've got here from 2017 to 2020. Now, 2019, the publisher changed the system, so this number is not very good. So and because the system was down for a while, but you can see the growth of the downloads, and the downloads are very important because it means how many people are reading the journal and where do they read it from. So here is the countries where people are downloading. And here is the top customers, so the top universities that they're using the journal. And this is, I get a report on how many downloads do I get per issue. And obviously, you remember I said about the 75 years anniversary special issue that attracted very established academics from around the world. That so far has got more than 18,000 downloads in that year. Here you can see citations, and you can see how the journal is growing in terms of citations, and you can see the cross-reference citation, and again you can see how it is growing there from year to year. Now, I'm not paranoid about citations, but citations is one of the ways that we are looking to how can we bring better content, and what content do people like to read? And that's why it's quite important to actually see what people are reading, and we're producing things that our audience would like to engage with. So it's very important from an editor's point of view to understand what their readers would like to read, and make sure that we curate the content that readers would like to read. This is really, really critical, and that's the role of the editor. And here I can see which are the papers that they get most downloads immediately. So this is an immediacy report, and this is the papers that they've been downloaded in the last 12 months. And you can see many of you will know Metin Kozak, and you can see how many downloads his COVID paper has taken. So this is a lot of, this tells me a lot about what my audience would like to read, my readers would like to explore. So my preoccupation is primarily to publish the best research. And that is the preoccupation of every editor. Every editor is trying to find what is the clever ideas, what's the golden egg out there. And we're trying to bring that kind of publication in our journal. And editors are fairly competitive in a way that we're trying to get the best papers in our journal, but at the same time, we collaborate. And we collaborate because we would like to get science moving. And science is really, really important for society. And that's the objective of any editor, really, is to bring the best research out to society so we can utilize it and we can take advantage of all the knowledge. And you can see that now with COVID, you see that with the vaccinations, but and of course with the economic development, again, the same situation happens. We need to bring the best research out that will help us to get out of this situation. Now, when I'm talking to authors would like to publish papers, and especially the more I go to Asia, the more quantitative everything, all the objectives are. So when I go to China, quite often they tell me I need to publish 3 papers in SSCI journals. I don't care which SSCI journals, but I just need to publish 3 papers. And there's a lot of pressure from many people, and many universities to actually make sure that everybody is publishing a good number of papers and in top journals. So that creates a huge competition. Now, if you want to publish in good journals, there are some golden rules, if you like, or some of the things that will enhance your chances to publish in good journals. So I'm going to take you through several things, and then I'll show you the confidential kind of inside story on what do we do as editors in order to make sure that we're doing our job in the best possible way. So before you start publishing or targeting a journal, I think some of the critical questions is, do you read the journal?
Fruit juice there. We've got some coconut juice. And I've got your meal. And
What happened to my cheese bread?
I think Peter is trying to serve some coconut juice. Something we need to...
No, I don't have to have it. No problems.
No, I just wondered.
Peter, can you please mute your microphone, please? Thank you very much. Or unless you need to send us coconut juice to everybody. Thank you so much. Okay, so do you want to publish in a journal? And a lot of people would like to publish in particular journals. I think the first thing to do is you need to read the journal. You need to understand what the journal is about. You need to understand what is the latest publications that are published. You need to see what is the ethos of the journal. What is the journal doing? And you need to engage with the journal. You need to provide references, and you need to review for the journal. So you need to engage with the community. Now, I find a lot of people who like the easy way. And the easy way is they're doing a couple of things, collect a little bit of data wherever, and they're trying to publish a paper. That doesn't go in a good paper, in a good journal. That normally goes into journals that they're not very good. To get a good publication, you really need to do the research properly. You need to go through the methodological development, and you need to make sure that that your paper actually makes a contribution to society, to theory and to society in general. And these things are very, very critical. To get published, you need to understand the publication process, and you need to do brilliant research. You need to engage with the referees and with the refereeing process, and you need to understand the critical success factors. Let me see how many hands. How many people have published more than 2 papers in the last year? Okay, few of you. How many people have never published anything? Okay, that's great. How many people have published 10 papers last year? Okay, I've got a good friend of mine whose name is Rob Law, who is in Hong Kong Polytechnic University, who is publishing 30 papers per year. So there are people out there that they're doing great things. So I take it that you're all in the beginning of your writing careers, right? Yes? Tell me yes? Yay, okay, that's great. Right, so you need to be able to distinguish what is a good paper and what is not a good paper. And you need to be able to understand what those things are and what makes a good paper. And a good paper is making a contribution to theory. And I was yesterday on another conference, and we talked with Kathy Su, who is the editor of Tourism Management. And Kathy actually articulated theory in the best possible way, and said theory is universal truths. It's things that they are correct in every context that you take. And she said something very clever. She said, an apple is going to go down from an apple tree no matter which country it is in. Okay, so that's kind of theory. And it's really important that, especially when we're doing tourism-related research, that we create things that they're not case studies. They are not specific to location. So a lot of people will send me a paper and said, look, how important it is, that little monument in my little town. And I'm going, okay, but why would someone in Ghana or someone in San Francisco or someone in Indonesia need to know about this? So if it is something that you're doing for Turkey, find the Turkish paper and publish it there. If there is something that you do for Poland, find the Polish paper and publish it there. If you would like to publish in a top journal, it will need to create theory and needs to be applicable to anywhere around the world. And I think it's really important that you question yourself every time you publish, you write something. How can I use this in another context? Okay, I don't have a lot of time, so I'll go through the confidential report, behind the scenes, the things that you do not see. So you're sending the paper and you kind of hope, pray, whatever you do, that the paper is going to be accepted. But I need to make sure that you understand what is the process for the paper to be accepted. And I would like you to understand how you can actually improve your chances. So once the papers are coming in, an editor is going to decide whether your paper is going to be reviewed or not. And if we decide that we are not going to reject the paper, and in tourism review, we desk reject 65% of the papers that are coming. 65% of the papers that are coming to my desk, I press reject, because I don't think that they'll survive the refereeing process. And I don't think that they are making a contribution. So the first thing is really to escape that 65% of the people who will be rejected quite soon. And I'm trying to reject people quickly because I don't want to reject you 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks after you send me a paper. I would like to reject you ideally within 3 days. So you can see why you're rejected, you can improve, and you can go to another journal. Okay, because there are some journals that they'll keep your paper for about 8 months and then they'll say, yeah, it's rejected. And then what do you do with this, right? It's not helpful at all. So we're trying to find the reviewers that are best for your paper. So let me explain to you this process here. So paper is coming in, is either rejected or sent to referee, or now we are increasingly doing reject and resubmit. So sometimes if something is wrong, but I believe that the paper can go forward, I'll reject the paper and I'll ask the authors to actually do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things and resubmit the paper as a new entry. That gives me the opportunity to actually start the process again, because I also have got benchmarks. I need to be able to have a full answer within 150 days from the minute that the paper has come in. So I'm obliged to the publisher that within 150 days, I would have finished the reviewing process and I would have accepted or rejected the paper. So the clock is ticking for me as an editor as much as it's clicking for everybody else. So sometimes we reject the paper and we say, okay, do 3, 4, 5 things, do this extra method, or analyze that, or improve the referencing, or proofread again, or add this and that, and come back again as a new entry. Now, then it's going to refereeing, and after refereeing, it's going to, sometimes we send to an associate editor, and an associate editor can actually do another refereeing and reject it there, and then it goes to revisions. Now, when we get the reports back, and you'll see some of the reports, it may be rejected or it may be accepted, but in more cases, it will be sent for more revisions. And now we are going into that kind of space where we are turning around that wheel, and there is a conversation between the reviewers and the authors. Now, normally, we reject about 15% to 20% on what we call R1. So the reviews are coming back, and then people say, no, we don't like this paper, and then we reject it. And then what is left on this carousel is about 15% to 20% of all the papers. We publish about 12% of the papers we receive. But when you're on the carousel, there is a full conversation between the authors and the reviewers. Okay. And how many rounds we're going around? People have asked me that. In a normal situation, it would be 3. 3 is a good number. There was a situation recently where we went to 7 reviews because I was refusing to reject the paper, and the authors were not doing as well as we would have asked. So I kept the situation going to 7 reviews. Anybody has got any questions so far? You can ask, or you can put on chat, or you can take the microphone and ask the question. Or Peter can bring some apple juice. Okay, all good? Okay,
Professor.
Hello, Ivan.
Yes, can I ask you a question, please?
You can.
When you say like refereeing, in this case, are refereeing, you mean the reviewers?
The reviewers, yes.
Right, okay.
Okay. Now you'll see a little bit the mechanics. I'll show you some of the print screens from my system, so you'll understand exactly how the system is happening. So this is a typical kind of situation. My good friend Fevzi Okomu says the editor never sleeps, and we always make decisions. And I think this is our situation. So this is my screen that I see how many people are waiting, where they're waiting, and what is their status. Now, this is an unusual screen for me because normally I get a lot of zeros here because I'm very efficient. But this is the time I was traveling to Australia. So I was for 2 days. It took me 28 hours to get to Australia. And then I slept for about 3 hours. And then I woke up to this. And I was doing a presentation. So I kept this print screen because in these 20, 30 hours, I had 2, 3, 7, 9. Oops. Sorry, I've done something wrong. Let me do it again. So in these 30 hours, I had about 12 decisions to make. And that is how busy everything is. Okay, this is today, 22nd of May, 2021. You can see I've got 246 papers already on the 22nd of May. So by the end of the year, I'll probably have about 800 papers. Now I need to publish in 2021 80 papers. In 2022, we're still negotiating with the publisher. I'll probably publish between 80 and 100. But this is my situation. No, this is not. So this is when we're talking about reviewers, Ivan. This is, we send this paper, the role of tourism growth in food prices, evidence from Turkey. I don't know if anybody is on this call that has written this paper. We send this paper to 8 people. So I've got 1 answer here, 1 review, and I've got 1 more review here. And I've got 1 decline, 2 declines, 3 declines, 4 declines. So out of the 8 people that we asked to review this paper, at least half of them decided that they don't want to do it. And this is really a problem for us because all the publishers, all the editors, we're desperately looking for reviewers. And if you are not a reviewer, please make yourself a reviewer. Because we really need people to be able to put into the system as much as they take out of the system. Okay, it's really critical because each review, each paper will have about 10 to 12 reviews before a decision is made. So your paper, you get 12 consultations for free out of the journal, right? Now, because we're a community, I would expect that you do another 10 or 12 consultations for the journal for other people who have submitted in there. And if you're not prepared to do that, you're in my black list. of people who are not doing their thing, because they are taking, but they do not put back into the communities. And this is all the editors will do something similar in a way that you cannot be selfish and only take out of the system and the community. You need to be prepared to actually put in the community and the system. Now, this is my manual system, which tells me whether I should go forward or how fast should I go, how many more papers can I accept, or how many less papers can I accept. So this is each issue. Unfortunately, the system does not allow me to do it automatically, so I've got to do it manually. So this is 76.1 on tourism review. This is 76.2, and those two are published already. We're waiting in the next month to publish 76.3, and then we've got ready 76.4. Now, I've decided to do a virtual issue on COVID, and then I'm not very interested on COVID anymore, because I think that we're going to go away from the COVID situation, and a lot of people will not be that interested. So I'll only look into very, very specifically on things for COVID. But what I'm doing is I'm packaging everything on the 76.5 with COVID. And then I've got one more issue to get out, and then 2021 is finished. So basically, I've got everything for 2021. All the papers that will be published in 2021 are already accepted. Those that they are on this blue color, they're already on the system on the early side, so you can see them, you can download them online. In fact, there are more than that, because this is not up to date. And then what is yellow is what we call in production. So it's still with the publisher, it's getting out on the production. And what is white has not gone into production yet. So it's still in the process. I've accepted it. It is gone from me, but now it's with the publisher. Now, what you can see here is that I've got my 80 papers for 2021. So in fact, I can stop for a minute and take a breather. And I've got, is it 36 or 38 papers ready for 2022? So when your paper is coming in, it will be quite difficult to get accepted, because most of the places on tourism review are already occupied. So it becomes very competitive. So that means that I need to find the golden egg. You remember the golden egg? It's really, really important that when it comes in 5 minutes, it can convince me that this paper is very, very good and it's going to make a contribution. So what we need is to make sure that we get very quickly to this 12% of the papers that we're getting. And what you need to do is to make sure that you are not on the 88% of the papers that they get rejected. Now, I'm not sure, I've got quite a lot of more stuff to show you, but I'm not sure how you are dealing with time. Aaron, do you want me to go for another 15 minutes or so?
Yes, 15 minutes, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Or I can stop here, up to you. If you like to keep going, you tell me this. If not, you tell me this.
So the thing is, I will give my time, because you mentioned lots of things and it's very precious. So you can continue. So before
Thank you so much. That's democracy working, right? Okay. So our role, what the role of the author is, not to get rejected. That is really important. It's really working with the editor. It's working with the reviewers, not to get rejected. So this is what reviewers are doing. Reviewers are sending reviews. Some of the reviews we like, some of the reviews we do not like. And we always insist that the reviews are helpful to the authors to improve their situation. But occasionally you find situations like that. This is a very conflicting situation for reviewers. One says reject, the other says accept, and the third one says minor revision. What should the editor do in this situation? One says accept, one says reject, and one says revisions. Inevitably, it will be revisions. Now, remember, the reviewers are consultants to the editors. The editor will make a decision. So it's the responsibility of the editor to make a decision. And the other thing is that there is a bit that you do not see when you are getting reviews. And this is confidential comments to the editor-in-chief, where the reviewers are telling us some things that the authors may not know. So if you see very positive, we've got several reviewers that they're trying to be polite and they write very positive kind of reviews, but on the confidential things says, I don't really like this paper because it's really, really bad. And this is something that they are sending to the editor, but the authors do not see. As I said before, the outcomes can be accept, major review, minor review, resubmit, and reject. As long as you don't get reject, you're still in the game on the carousel. If you're in the game, you can always improve. Okay, and that is what you're trying to do. You're trying to learn from the reviewers and improve your paper and come again and improve it. And the editor will make the final decision based on the argumentation from both the reviewers and the authors. It's really, really critical that the authors engage in conversation with reviewers. And I'll show you in a minute some bad cases. Occasionally you get rejected, and I've got a very special whiskey that's called Student Tears for this, and it's very, very useful on occasions that you get rejected. Or you get this major review outcome that says, you know, you have got to do that and that and that, that and that and that, and you've already worked on the paper for about 8 months, but they tell you you need to work on the paper for another 6 months. It happens to all of us. It happens to me as well. It happens to the editors as well. So don't be surprised if that happens. Depending on what is your medicine, that whiskey is quite good. I recommend it. How do you respond to the referees and the referees' reports? Now, first of all, I would say to people, please do not respond immediately. Leave it for a couple of days, sleep on it. Bad words will never take you anywhere. And if you say, you so-and-so, how dare you stupid reviewer not understand my excellent science, I tell you that's not going to take you a long way. And I also tell you that it happens often, okay? This is the kind of referee report, that's the kind of responses that we would like to see. A big table that says, reviewer 1, you have said this, I've done that. Reviewer 2, you've said this, sorry. Reviewer 2, you've said that, I've done that. Sometimes you just say, thank you very much, that's a wonderful thing. I really appreciate that you like my science, if it's a positive comment. Sometimes say, no, I disagree with you because of this and this and this and that and that and that, and therefore that and that and that. Some other times you say, wonderful idea, this is what I've done and now I've improved the paper. If you always disagree with the reviewers, I can guarantee what's going to happen. You're not going to go anywhere. If you always agree with the reviewers, again, that's not right. So we are looking for an intellectual discussion there, right? And we need to understand, it's a polite conversation to get things out. This is from my friend Cleopatra, who is editing the Journal of Product and Brand Management, 32 pages of a response on a 20 pages paper. So increasingly we see people writing 15,000 words to respond to reviewers. And that is fine. It needs to happen. It's an intellectual discussion. The higher you go in publication, the more engagement you're going to have. This should not discourage you. You are discussing with the reviewer and you're putting the argumentation along. How not to respond to reviewers. This this is what the reviewer is saying. This article is full of wrong information. The history part makes no sense. The author jumped from in-room technologies to CRS and to GDS, a lot of wrong information. Therefore, I recommend rejection. And this is what the author is writing back. We believe reviewer 2, it's always reviewer 2, by the way, is not so familiar with hospitality technology development, so he has many misunderstandings about the context we presented. However, we appreciated reviewers' 2 contribution to improve the quality of our papers. And at the end says, maybe reviewer 2 is in a bad mood when he reviewed our paper. Please don't do that. Please don't do that, okay? This is not gonna take you anywhere. This is a real story, by the way. How do editors decide? They're looking to the contribution and they're looking how interesting is this paper. Is this original, or is that, have I read another 65 papers on this? So is it cultural heritage in my little village and the importance of tourism? Yeah, okay, great. What is new? What's the contribution? What is the theory behind it? And you remember that editors are coming to this situation, they need to make decisions very quickly. Okay. Now, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. So the Linear Algebra and its Application Journal took 11 years to publish this paper. It got in 95, it got out in 2006. And that's why it's important that you pick up the journals that they're quite quick and they understand what they're doing. It can take 11 years to get the paper. Wow, I can't believe I actually wrote this. This is amazing. I just may have a bright future as a writer. Occasionally things are going wrong. And this is interesting because Nature rejected this paper from Dr. Radcliffe in 1992, which got him the Nobel Prize of Medicine in 2019. So again, editors are not always perfect. They don't always make the right decisions, and these things happen. So writing for success means that you understand what you are doing. You're doing persistently, you're doing clever things, the golden egg, remember the golden egg, and you are writing and you get into a conversation. You're asking the right questions, you read the journals that you would like to publish, and you engage with the editors. So I've gone through very quickly. I'm guilty because I spent some time today adding some more information, so that's why I'm over the time. This is how you get in contact with me, and I can stop sharing so I can take a couple of questions if you've got the time. Thank you.